In the dim glow of a rain-slicked city street, under the flickering neon sign of a forgotten bar, Alex Thompson's world shifted in an instant. He was just a single dad, clocking out after a grueling shift at the office, his mind already racing ahead to picking up his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, from the babysitter. But as he stepped into the cool night air, he heard a muffled cry, a woman's voice, sharp with fear, tangled in the low rumble of aggressive laughter. There, in the alley beside the bar, his boss, Elena Vasquez, the formidable CEO who commanded boardrooms with an iron gaze, was cornered by two burly men, her elegant dress disheveled, her words slurring from too many drinks. Without a second thought, Alex charged in, his heart pounding like a war drum. "Hey, back off!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. The men turned, sizing him up, a lanky accountant in a rumpled suit, but Alex didn't back down. He swung his briefcase like a weapon, catching one in the knee, and grabbed Elena's arm, pulling her toward the street as sirens wailed in the distance. They stumbled into a cab together, her head lolling against his shoulder, her perfume mixing with the sharp tang of whiskey. As the cab sped away, Elena murmured something incoherent, her hand clutching his sleeve. Alex's pulse raced. He'd just saved his boss from God knows what, and tomorrow, in the harsh light of the office, she'd probably pretend it never happened. But the next morning, as he sat at his desk nursing a coffee, Elena strode in, her eyes locking onto his with a clarity that sent a shiver down his spine. She didn't pretend to forget. Instead, she closed the door to her office and whispered, "We need to talk now." What could she possibly want? Had he crossed a line? Or was this the beginning of something that could upend his carefully guarded life? Alex's mind reeled as he followed Elena into her spacious corner office, the city skyline sprawling out behind her like a silent witness. The door clicked shut, sealing them in a bubble of tension that made the air feel thick. Elena, usually a picture of poised perfection in her tailored suits and impeccable makeup, looked different today, vulnerable, almost raw. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and there were faint shadows under her eyes, remnants of the night before. She gestured for him to sit, but he remained standing, his hands fidgeting with the edge of his tie. "Mr. Thompson, Alex," she began, her voice steady but laced with an emotion he couldn't quite place. "Last night, I remember everything. The bar, the men, you pulling me out of there. I was a mess, and you didn't have to step in, but you did. Why?" Alex swallowed hard, his thoughts flashing to Lily's innocent face, to the years he'd spent rebuilding his life after his wife's sudden death in a car accident 3 years ago. He'd become a fortress, walls high to protect his daughter from more loss, focusing on spreadsheets and soccer practices instead of his own aching loneliness. "I couldn't just walk away," he said simply. "Anyone would have done the same." But Elena shook her head, stepping closer, her eyes searching his. "Not anyone. You've been with the company for 2 years, Alex. I've seen you quiet, dedicated, always the first to volunteer for overtime but never seeking the spotlight. You're raising your daughter alone, aren't you? I admire that." Her words hung between them, charged with an unspoken connection. For the first time, Alex saw beyond the boss facade. Elena, the woman who had clawed her way to the top of a male-dominated tech firm, hiding her own scars behind power lunches and late-night drinks. She confessed then, in a rush of vulnerability, that the previous night wasn't a one-off. The pressure of running the company, the isolation of leadership, had driven her to numb the edges with alcohol. "I don't know why I'm telling you this," she admitted, her cheeks flushing. "But you saved me, and I can't pretend it didn't happen. Let me repay you dinner tonight, just to say thank you." Alex hesitated, his heart tugging between caution and a flicker of hope. Dinner with his boss? It could be professional, or it could be the spark that ignited something dangerous. As he nodded yes, a thrill shot through him, but so did a whisper of doubt. What if this was destiny knocking, or just a recipe for heartbreak? That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Alex found himself at a cozy Italian restaurant downtown, Lily safely tucked in with her grandparents for the night. Elena arrived in a simple black dress that hugged her curves, her smile genuine and disarming. They talked over candlelight and pasta, the conversation flowing like wine, easy, unexpected. She shared stories of her immigrant parents, who had sacrificed everything for her education, pushing her to succeed at all costs. "I've built this empire," she said softly, twirling her fork, "but sometimes I wonder if it's worth the emptiness it brings. No time for friends, for love, for anything real." Alex opened up too, his voice cracking as he spoke of his late wife Sarah and how her loss had left him adrift, pouring all his love into Lily. "She's my everything," he said, showing Elena a photo on his phone, a gap-toothed grin that made her eyes soften. "But being a single dad, it's lonely. I tell myself I'm fine, but nights like this remind me I'm not." Their hands brushed across the table, a spark igniting that neither could ignore. As dessert arrived, Elena leaned in, her breath warm against his ear. "Alex, last night wasn't just trouble, it was a wake-up call. Meeting you like this, it feels like fate." Their lips were inches apart, the world narrowing to just them, when Alex's phone buzzed insistently. He glanced at Lily's babysitter, an emergency. His heart plummeted. "I have to go," he whispered, pulling back, just as their kiss hung in the balance. What if this interruption was a sign? Or worse, what if he was already too invested, setting himself up for another shattering loss? The days that followed blurred into a whirlwind of stolen moments and deepening emotions. At work, Elena and Alex maintained a professional facade, but behind closed doors, their connection blossomed. Late-night emails turned into texts filled with inside jokes and shared dreams. One afternoon, Elena surprised him by picking up Lily from school when his meeting ran long, and watching her interact with his daughter laughing over ice cream cones stirred something profound in Alex. Lily adored her, calling her Aunt Elena with innocent affection, and for the first time since Sarah's death, Alex allowed himself to imagine a future with someone else. Elena, too, felt alive in ways she hadn't in years. Alex's quiet strength grounded her, pulling her away from the bottle and toward a life of genuine connection. They shared their first kiss under a starry sky during a weekend getaway, the tension exploding into passion that left them breathless. "I think I'm falling for you," Elena confessed, her fingers tracing his jaw. But as their romance deepened, so did the shadows of doubt. Alex worried about the power imbalance. She was his boss, after all. What if colleagues found out? What if it affected his job, his ability to provide for Lily? Elena, sensing his hesitation, pushed harder, inviting him into her world of galas and high society events, but Alex felt out of place, a simple man in a sea of suits. The major emotional conflict erupted one stormy evening when Elena offered him a promotion, a senior role that would mean more money, but also more hours away from Lily. "This is for us," she argued, her eyes pleading. "It shows I believe in you, that we're in this together." But Alex saw it differently, a test of his priorities. Or worse, a way for her to control him. "Is this love, or are you trying to fix me into your life?" he snapped, the words slicing through the air like thunder. Hurt flashed in Elena's eyes. She accused him of not trusting her, of holding back because of his past. "I'm not Sarah's replacement, Alex. But if you can't see that I'm sacrificing my reputation for this for us, then maybe we're fooling ourselves." The argument escalated, voices rising until Alex stormed out into the rain, leaving Elena alone with her tears. Was this the end, or just the storm before? The calm, as he drove home, his phone lit up with her message. "Don't go, we need to talk." But he silenced it, his heart breaking under the weight of misunderstanding. Heartbreak settled over them like a heavy fog in the weeks that followed. Alex threw himself into fatherhood, avoiding Elena at work, his chest aching with every glimpse of her in the hallways. He replayed their fight endlessly, regretting his harsh words but clinging to his fears. Lily noticed his sadness, her small hand patting his cheek one night as she asked, "Daddy, why are you sad? Is it because Aunt Elena doesn't come over anymore?" The question pierced him, forcing him to confront how much Elena had become part of their lives. Meanwhile, Elena spiraled into self-doubt, questioning if her ambition had doomed her to solitude. She stopped drinking entirely, channeling her energy into therapy and personal growth, realizing that true love required vulnerability, not control. But the silence between them stretched, filled with unspoken regrets. One cliffhanger came during a company retreat, where Alex overheard colleagues gossiping about Elena's mystery man, twisting their relationship into something scandalous. Confronting her in a quiet corner, he demanded, "Is this what you wanted? Our secret out?" My job on the line? Elena's face paled. I didn't say anything, she whispered. But if it's out, maybe it's time to own it. Their eyes locked, tension crackling. But before he could respond, a fire alarm blared, pulling them apart in chaos. What if the rumors ruined everything? Days later, another cliffhanger struck when Alex discovered an old email on Elena's work computer accidental access during a file transfer revealing she'd turned down a lucrative merger to avoid relocating. A sacrifice she'd made quietly for him. Stunned, he realized her promotion offer wasn't control but love, a way to keep him close. Rushing to her office, he found her packing boxes. I'm stepping down, she said, tears streaming. If being CEO means losing you, it's not worth it. The revelation hit like a wave, her sacrifice mirroring his own fears. Elena, no, he pleaded, pulling her into his arms. I've been an idiot. I was scared, holding on to the past instead of trusting our future. In that moment of raw honesty, hope flickered back to life. They talked through the night, unraveling misunderstandings like tangled threads. Alex admitted his grief over Sarah had made him guarded, fearing another loss would destroy him and Lily. But you've shown me love can heal, not just hurt, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Elena shared her own struggles, how success had been her armor against abandonment from a fractured childhood. With you, I don't need to pretend anymore, she confessed. You've taught me trust isn't weakness, it's strength. They decided to navigate the challenges together. Elena transitioned to a consulting role, easing the power dynamic, while Alex accepted a balanced promotion that allowed family time. Sacrifices wove into their bond. Elena learning to prioritize quiet evenings over board meetings. Alex opening his heart to vulnerability. Months later, under the same starry sky where they'd first kissed, Alex proposed, Lily giggling as she held the ring box. Yes, Elena whispered, tears of joy mingling with his. Their wedding was intimate, a celebration of destiny's twists, with Lily as the flower girl, her laughter echoing the hope they'd fought for. As they danced under twinkling lights, Alex marveled at how a single act of kindness had led to this profound connection, proving that love blooms in the unlikeliest places, fostering growth and unbreakable trust. Years on, their family grew, Lily gaining a sibling, their home filled with the warmth of shared dreams. Alex and Elena's story became a testament to emotional resilience, inspiring those around them to embrace love's risks. In quiet moments, they'd reflect on that fateful night, grateful for the trouble that had brought them together, turning strangers into soulmates through heartbreak, sacrifice, and unwavering hope. Like the video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional love stories.